I just don't understand. Like, you're at the airport, you say, I don't want to die here, and that's the last time you're ever seen is running for your life out of the airport. You're so afraid for whoever is around you that you run across the field, you hop over a fence, and you disappear into the trees, bro. What? Hi, friends. Welcome back to Sunday Scaries, my new series where on Sundays we sit down together, we go over a true crime case, an eerie mystery, or anything spooky, and I do my makeup. We have a really not fun. I shouldn't say that. We have a really interesting missing persons / disappearance case that I have wanted to cover for a really long time. We were going to go over the absolutely wild disappearance of Lars Mittank, I think is how you say his last name. I don't know. We're just gonna call him Lars. Lars was a 28-year-old German guy, and he was an engineer. Okay, smarty pants. Disappeared under like some really mysterious circumstances, and we're gonna get into it. He was traveling with his friends on a vacation when he disappeared. In July 2014, they were in Varna, Bulgaria on vacation, him and a couple of his guy friends. I feel like it is necessary to mention that there is a lot of like different stories about what happened here. Like there are some accounts that say slightly different things. So I'm just kind of taking what I know from like each different source and piecing it together the best I can. But a lot of the information about this is unfortunately in German, and I, alas, do not speak German. So I did my best to give you the most accurate information. It's July 1st, and Lars is with 5 of his guy friends. They're staying at the Golden Sands, which is apparently a super popular resort near Varna. The beginning of the trip is super chill. Like, they're having a great time. You know, they've been exploring, they've been going to bars, they've been doing all of these fun things, and nothing is going wrong. We love that. Cut to July 6th. Okay, so they had July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. They're in Varna. They're having a great time. Nothing is wrong. They're enjoying their trip. July 6th is when they go to this bar to watch a soccer game. I think I'm just going to do a really boring makeup. I'm so sorry. I'm doing a boring makeup because I'm in a boring mood. I'm getting my period. I don't know what to tell you. At this bar, there's obviously 2 teams playing against each other. Hello, sports. And I guess Lars is like cheering for one team, and there's this group of people that are obviously a fan of the other team. And they get into an altercation about like the opposing teams, which is so stupid. Like, boys are literally so dumb. A girl would never. And it is said that Lars gets in like a physical fight with these people that are rooting for the other team. He gets punched really hard upside like on the left side of his head and ends up like rupturing his eardrum. So that's one account. However, I heard another story that they get into this tussle. So same kind of thing at the bar. At the end of the day, they do fight. Where Lars's ear gets ruptured is kind of where things get a little muddy. So either he got in a fight with these people at the bar and that's where his ear was ruptured, or the other version of the story that I heard is he got into a fight with these people at the bar. Nothing really serious came of it. It was like a bit of a tussle. And I guess there was like a threat to Lars from these people saying like, oh, it's really easy like to hire somebody to like beat you up if we wanted. Men are so stupid. So then later that night, Lars and all of his friends are walking, and they're obviously drunk, having a great time. They want to go to McDonald's, as one does when you're out drinking. And Lars, fit guy, really active, fast food's not really his thing, cannot relate. Decides he's going to walk back to the hotel because he doesn't want McDonald's. And the hotel is only 1 kilometer away from where they are at this McDonald's. So his friends are like, okay, cool, see you, bye. And on Lars's way home, he gets jumped by who he thinks is like a Russian mob gang. Like it's like a group of men. And apparently they just beat him up like out of nowhere. And this is where he ruptures his left eardrum. The next morning when he's, back at the hotel and he's talking to his friends, he tells them what happens. And he says that like he thinks that they were hired to like beat him up from the guys at the bar that he had the altercation with in regards to soccer. So I'm not sure like which is true. I think it's probably like a little bit of both. Like he did get into two separate fights. Where his eardrum was ruptured is kind of where things get lost and confusing. But at the end of the day, he got in an altercation and he ruptured his eardrum. So Lars is telling his friends like, bro, my eardrum is absolutely fucked. Something, you know, like I got in an altercation. His friends are like, okay, well that sucks because we kind of are like trying to go home soon. So like maybe go to the doctor, make sure it's all Gucci. Like you don't want to be getting on a plane with like a ruptured eardrum. That could be bad. Who knows? So Lars goes to the doctor and the doctor is basically like, bro, you probably should have surgery. Like it's not looking good, mate. And Lars is like, no, I want to go home. Like it's not happening. And so the doctor is like, okay, that's chill. I'm just going to prescribe you an antibiotic. But like, it could be like you can fly. It just might hurt because of the pressure change when you're in the air, right? And Lars is like, whatever. The doctor then kind of advises him like, if I were you, I would wait a couple days before flying home, like start the antibiotics and then like see how you feel and then you can fly home. Tells his friends this and is basically like, hey, I got these antibiotics. The doctor's telling me it's a bad idea to fly right now. I think I'm going to hang back a couple days before I head back home. His friends are like, no worries. Like, well, I'll just delay our flights because we're not going to leave you here. That would be crazy. And plot twist, they do. Men are crazy. Like, I feel like that girl would never. Like, if my friend was like, I ruptured my eardrum. Somebody beat me up. I ruptured my eardrum and now I can't fly home with you. I would not be like, okay, bye. Does anybody remember this? Does anybody remember this? What a throwback. This used to be my favorite palette in the entire world. Anyways, so they're like, oh, okay, you're chill to like stay here all by yourself in another country. Like, no worries, friend. Like, totally, we're gonna leave. So that's fine. They apparently fly home and leave Lars to rest up for a few days. And like, okay, that's fair. Like, he is a grown man. I'm sure it wasn't that deep. I just like, I would literally never. Sorry, I could not. It is now July 7th and July 7th, 8th. He's staying in Germany, but he's no longer at the first hotel that they all stayed at together. He ended up getting a hotel closer to the airport because, you know, the next day he's planning on flying back home. So he takes a taxi to this new airport to stay, and investigators actually spoke to the taxi that dropped him off here, and the taxi driver said that he was actually being really weird and like his pupils were super dilated in the taxi, and like the taxi driver noticed that he was acting a little strange. So that's interesting. I think like right here, like right about here in this case is where he starts to get really weird and act super off and super strange. He's at this new hotel that's by the airport. It's not in the best area. He is alone staying at this airport. Sorry, no. He's alone and he's staying at this hotel near the airport. And he is checking in to this hotel. All is dandy. He's up in his room now and he calls his mother. It's about midnight at this point and he's telling her that she needs to cancel all his credit cards. This is coming out of nowhere. This man was kind of normal, fine with his friends, and then they go back to Germany and he's now suddenly acting super, super strange. Calls his mother, tells her she needs to cancel all of his credit cards because he's like nervous about somebody using them. He said that when he checked in, the front desk people like wrote down his credit card information and it really freaked him out, and like he's just not feeling good about anything right now. And I don't know, kind of weird. I don't need my credit cards, like please just cancel them. So I guess his mom goes ahead and does that for him, whatever. And you know, the conversation kind of ends. She's like, you know, you'll be home tomorrow, like just relax, bitch, like chill out, nobody's following you, you're being a little crazy. A couple hours goes by and he calls her a second time, but in between those two phone calls to his mother, there's footage of him pacing up and down the hallway in the hotel and him like hiding in the elevator, like going in and like popping out of the elevator, like hiding from somebody. And the second time that he calls his mother, he's like whispering to her on the phone, okay? He's saying to his mom, like, there are, like, somebody is coming for him. There are suspicious people in the hotel, and he does not feel safe at all. It is now July 8th. Lars is about to go home. He's getting ready to go to the airport. He made it through the night. Nobody came for him. Nobody murdered him. Love that for Lars. Oh, one more thing that I forgot to mention is that, again, so there's footage of him like roaming up and down the halls in between these calls with his mother. He calls his mom at midnight. That's the first conversation where he begs her to cancel his credit cards. He's saying that he doesn't feel safe. They were weird at the front desk. Like there's weird, I don't know, just absolute craziness. And then at 1 a.m., there's footage of him leaving the hotel, like pacing back and forth, and then he leaves the hotel. He's gone for an entire hour, comes back, calls his mom at 3, and that's when he's whispering to her. Nobody knows where he went for that hour, which is really weird because knowing what happens to him, there's so many questions. Like, who beat you up? Like, who are these men that you say beat you up? And then where did you go at 1 a.m. for an hour? And like, where did these feelings of somebody is like coming after you come from? Like, I like, it makes me wonder, like, was something said to him when he was beat up? And his mom said in an interview that like she really wishes that she did ask more questions about, what he was telling her, but she was just kind of like, he's coming home tomorrow, like he's clearly not doing well. I just kind of want to like focus on getting him home. But obviously with what happened, she does feel a little bit of regret about not prying a little bit more. It's July 8th, 2014, so it is the next day, and he is supposedly heading home now. On his way to the airport, calls his mom when he gets there to let her know that he has made it to the airport and he is going to be on his way home shortly. This is when Lars' mother kind of just recommends he check in with the airport doctor about flying, because let's not forget he did rupture his ear, and although he has antibiotics, the doctor originally mentioned surgery, so obviously his mom is a little bit nervous about his ear. So she says, like, Lars, sweetie, go. He's going to get clearance for flying just to make sure everything is fine. And this is when shit, like, it kind of just hits the fucking fan. Lars is in the room with this doctor, and the doctor said that Lars is being really freaking weird. Like, he's very stressed out. He's, like, extremely on edge, and he's really agitated. Like, the doctor said that, like, it was very clear that something was going on with him and he was unwell. A man walks in that's in, like, a construction vest because they were doing construction on the airport, and Lars, like, takes one look at him and, like, says under his breath, "I don't want to die here." And then what I am about to show you on CCTV is so wild. So Lars looks at this man and then basically just books it. So he's running out of this airport and he does not have his phone, he does not have his passport, he does not have his luggage. The only thing he has with him is the clothes on his back. So he's wearing a t-shirt and some shorts and some white sneakers, and that is all that this man has with him as he is sprinting out of the airport. Okay, and mind you, it's not like he was just, like, trying to get out of the airport. Like, I was kind of thinking, like, okay, this man in the construction outfit just, like, set him off and he maybe thought he was doing it. I don't know. Like, the crazy thing to me is not that he sprinted out of the airport. Like, okay, sure, maybe he thinks there's somebody in the airport. No, not only does this man sprint out of the airport, but he hops over, like, a barbed wire fence and runs into a nearby, like, forest. This footage is so crazy because Mans is running for his life like somebody is actually after him and about to kill him. And I think the craziest part of all this is the fact that he brought nothing with him. Like, let's not forget, he is not from here. He's completely alone. And he was just talking with a doctor and had all of his belongings with him and just decided to up and leave everything there and just run for his life from who knows what. Like, he sprints out of the terminal, which, first of all, I actually have questions about that because I feel like you can't just run for your life in an airport without somebody kind of, like, stopping you or following you. I have questions about that. Like, I just don't think airport security would watch somebody sprinting out of the airport, holding nothing, like holding, like, no luggage or anything. Like, not like he's, like, late for a flight or, like, running for an Uber. Like, he's got nothing with him. Did nobody follow him? Like, did nobody follow him? Because this was in 2014, and that was the last time that Lars was ever seen. So there are a lot of theories about what happened to Lars, and we will kind of dive into some of them. And then I want to know what you think, because I don't even know what I think. Like, this is so crazy. There have actually been a lot of sightings over the years where people think it's Lars. However, none of them have been confirmed to be him. So that was, in fact, the last official sighting of Lars, which is so crazy to me. And I really tried to find more information about, like, what happened after he ran out of the airport. Like, did nobody go after this man? Like, I just don't understand that. But apparently not, because when he ran into the forest, that's the last time anybody saw him. I just think that's crazy. There is one theory that this was kind of set up by Lars, that this fight with these, like, mob people that just, like, came after him randomly on his walk home from McDonald's back to the hotel never existed, and he orchestrated the whole thing to, like, escape his life. However, that doesn't make any sense, because he did get hit in the ear. He had prescription antibiotics from the doctor. If he never got hit in the ear, he wouldn't have had antibiotics from a doctor. Another theory is that these men at the bar that he got in a tussle with were, like, some sort of drug dealers or, like, drug smugglers, and when they got in the argument with Lars, they kind of, like, realized that he was a tourist there, and that, I guess, like, Lars pissed them off enough that they were like, we're gonna use this guy. And then when Lars was walking home, they did send people after him, and they sent them after him to beat him up and basically threaten him and say, like, if you don't do this for us, like, if you don't take these drugs and smuggle them back to Germany, we're gonna kill you, type of thing, and, like, we're watching you. And remember how he disappeared for an hour at that hotel? So people think that he maybe met up with these people because they're watching him the entire time, and they're saying, you know, like, we're gonna beat you up, we're like, we need you to meet us back here at so and so time, we're gonna give you the product, you're gonna shove it up your ass or, like, wherever, and you're gonna smuggle it back to Germany when you leave tomorrow. And so he was panicking, and, like, that's why all this was happening. So when he left the hotel for that hour, it was to, like, meet up with these mob people who were giving him the product that he had to move the next day. That's why when he was at the airport, he was, like, really on edge, really weird, and then just, like, panicked and ran off. And some people don't think that this is a possibility because they looked through his bags when he left, because remember, he left all of his belongings there, and they didn't find any drugs of any kind in his bags. But this is where people speculated that, like, if he was forced to smuggle drugs, maybe he did have to put them inside his body somewhere. Another theory is that Lars just kind of had a bit of a psychotic break and went a little bit crazy. However, this one isn't as widely believed because, again, like, his family said, like, Lars had never really struggled with anything before like that, and it just doesn't make sense that it would come out of completely nowhere. Like, it's not like he, like, really struggled with depression or, like, suicidal tendencies, like, nothing like that. So his family was just kind of like, no. That's kind of, like, the majority of the theories, and no matter what one you try to make sense of, there are, like, missing pieces, or it just doesn't really fully add up, which is super annoying. And I just, like, I don't even know. I don't know. Like, to me, truthfully, like, none of it makes any sense to me. If I had to, like, confidently tell you what I think happened, I don't think I could, because none of it makes any sense. Like, what happened to this man? I don't know. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Sunday Scaries. Super unsettling case, but I don't know. I would love to know what you guys think happened to Lars, because I have no idea. Like, I have no idea. I wish I knew. I feel really bad for his mama. His poor mama. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next Sunday.